Hola, ¿cómo está, amigos? Or hello, welcome back to the Bootroom Podcast. I'm Jamie McCready alongside Mr. Harry Christopher Hennings. Welcome back.
This is a big episode today. Cannot wait for this.
For sure. Well, Noel Perez, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much, Jamie. Harry, I'm very glad to be here. It's an honor to share that time with you. And I hope everything will be great for your audience.
Well, of course. Well, it's taken a bit of time to get this all set up in here. But firstly, could you talk to us about the journey of you getting here?
Not easy. My life is a little struggling this moment, a lot of responsibilities. I came from Latvia, from Riga airport yesterday night, spent the night in the center, come here to share this time with you. And tomorrow I need to back to the training as well because we have a game in 2 days and I have to prepare everything. Yeah.
But you said this is your second time in England, didn't you?
Yeah, that's my second time here.
What have you made of it so far? It's a short stay, but...
I think it's great. I mean, it's a Western country. So for me, it's very easy to understand. And sometimes I spend a lot of time in another continents and another cultures, environments. And to be back in this Western world is always great. So everything fine.
Could you talk to us then about when you were growing up in Barcelona? Obviously, you are a Barcelona man. So what was it like to grow up there and what's the atmosphere like there? Because obviously Barcelona is such a big club and I'm presuming that's put down to people like you.
Barcelona.
Mm-hmm.
I think, talking in football terms, Barcelona is top of the top. In football history, you can feel it when you are walking on the streets. Football is everything. I think similar that happened in London.
Okay.
So in the ways, if you are working in grassroots, in everything, you are involved there. Football is the number one. Follow Barcelona, Espanyol. This is very great. And when you go to the bar, the conversation out the street or in the bar is football. So I think in England it's similar.
Yeah, it is, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I know growing up you started very early at Espanyol, but just what position did you start off at growing up?
You mean as a coach?
No, as a player.
Where did you begin to play? Started,
yeah.
I was playing in my hometown club, in two of my hometown clubs for a lot of years. I started at 4, so that was my career there. I was changing one to another one in my hometown. Until 19, have the experience to play in Israel for a short time. So we can consider this like a pro, but my dream, that was very short. So I play football about 15 years, and the most part of the time in my hometown play. So as a player, I don't have a very long history to say, but I have such good memories in my player time, and sometimes I miss it. Yeah.
Well, of course. I mean, are you a good player? Most Spanish people, most Brazilian people, they're good at football.
You know why? Because we feel that football, we were talking before, and I remember my childhood was spending a lot of time in the streets. I think this kind of behavior now is impossible to find it,
Yeah.
We lost of kind of traditions, but that helps a lot, especially in the technical level. If you want to grow as a player, you need to spend time practicing, trying over and over again, and you are very tired, no problem, let's go it again. With friends, I spent a lot of time, even more than training, in training sessions when I was playing. And that gives me a lot of tools, and after I can use that in my former club when I was playing. But that's the key of the success. Try, enjoy. This is childhood time on the streets playing football is the most important if you really want to have a good level as a player.
Cool. Growing up, how did you balance your studies around football? Because obviously some footballers find it harder, some find it easier.
That's a very interesting point. Yeah. In Spain, many families don't get very importance of the studies, so. Just following my mandatory period in primary, middle, high school, until high school. But the problem was when I was 16, I started to play a semi-pro because I was like a promising player, something like that, and I started to win money as a part-time. And that was my finishing, my worst point, because at that time I was a child, more than an adult. I didn't take the best decisions. Even I stopped to study to get more importance as just play. And that's a big mistake because you are thinking about in the present, in the moment. So in my case, my priority was football. And that was a little problem.
When we do these podcasts, I often get criticised at the fact that I like to talk about food. Now, I know in Spain that there's a lot of seafood. There's much better food than in England. Here we have like crisps or just unhealthy things. And I know that you have like jambon crisps, which are very nice in Spain. Jambon crisps are very nice.
Jamon.
Yeah, jamon, sorry. And they're very nice. But in Spain, what is your diet as a normal Spanish man?
No, we follow Mediterranean diet as well. Yeah. So a lot of fresh vegetables, and ham, cold meat especially. Yeah. That's the base of everything. Good protein, coming from pork, olive oil, very important,
Yeah.
and wine, Spanish vino. That's very important. Red wine. That's like the best way to enjoy Spanish food. But that's right. I don't know why that's such a different with the British one. Yeah.
Oh, I think because
Why do you think that happened?
we're a small island.
Yeah?
I
You
think.
Yeah, I'd say so. And I think their climate is much better than ours, so everything grows a lot quicker
yeah,
and
but
fresher, doesn't it?
we can get things like salmon or tuna. I mean, maybe it's British. We can get fish here, but firstly, it's very expensive, which I think is the big concern of people. It's very expensive, and a packet of crisps is very cheap. So it's
Understable.
yeah, of course, of course. But I wanted to ask, when you go to Spain, what's your classic dish?
Well, I'll say it in Spanish. Me encanta pulpo. It's how do you say? Delicioso.
Delicioso, yeah.
Pulpo. ¿Y tú?
Pulpo.
Sí.
Octopus, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Octopus.
Octopus.
Oh,
Yeah.
Octopus, sorry.
Yes.
For the pronunciation, yeah.
very nice.
Very good.
So
yeah.
good.
You went to Galicia, yeah.
Yeah,
The main dish
I
is
did.
the main dish of Galicia.
Yeah,
It's the
exactly.
star one, yeah.
Yeah, and then I've had sea urchin there before.
Sea urchin, the spiky things.
Yes. And
Oh,
then
wow.
you open
It's
it
yellow,
up
isn't
and
it?
It's like a paste inside.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Wow.
Prawns and you get
Prawns, so
paella.
good.
Paella.
Yeah, but of course.
Oh, I've never had paella.
You never had it?
It's difficult to find a good one, Don't
Is
be,
it?
In
don't be
England,
tricked, If you go to a tourist place, be careful, please. Just follow TripAdvisor, is the name, yeah. If you want to find places on the website, the Google rating or something like that, find a good place, because if you go to the most typical places in Barcelona and Madrid, they will trick you.
Really?
When you find a place in a restaurant, there is a big picture of paella, go away. It's my recommendation.
Yeah. No, it's true though. Yeah, I think what I found there is the smaller places, the quiet places. They have the fresher food. They have the better food than the places with the big pictures and the loud music. And that's usually like average.
The stock images.
There's the stock images,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So for me, when I go, my favourite is seafood. But then other Spanish cuisine like churros is great as well.
Oh, that's Mexican, no?
No. The fried donuts with the chocolate.
Yeah, I thought that was Mexican.
No, Spanish.
Oh, they're very nice.
Yeah, acceptable. Yeah. Not my favorite, but acceptable.
I suppose for a football manager, maybe not so much.
Exactly, yeah.
You actually, really interestingly, I don't think we've ever spoken to a former player who's played in Israel. Now, Israel isn't really renowned for its football, but they have produced some decent players. So for you to go to Israel in 2008, 2009, what was that like for you? What did you want to go and achieve when you were there?
That was everything became because I have family there. I
Okay.
have double nationality, and that helps a lot, because the level is not that good than Spanish. But because of that, it's much more easy to get opportunities as well. So I spent a short period there, second division team. I was a little afraid, because playing my hometown club, we can consider semi-professional level at that time was like fifth division, something like that. And there was a grow up in terms of performance. And the process was so because when you are 19 and you face kind of experience like that, everything is coming in 1 second, and there's no time to process. And as a player, the pressure is very important when you are playing for a full-time salary. You have teammates or you have rivals on the pitch. So for me, it was difficult to understand what means that. That was my first experience with professional embodiment as well, right? Now it's pretty different. Now I think why I stopped to play football now. With the knowledge I have now, I think I could be a very good player. But at that time, many things are in the air yet. So that's
What would you say would be different from then to now? Maybe something that we wouldn't quite know. So I know you've got a better tactical understanding of the game. Would that really help you as a player?
yeah, of course. And not only that, decision making, major level, can analyze things on live, control your emotions. All of this is forming part not only about football, about your personality.
That's big.
That's a good point.
Emotions are really big. I feel like attackers always have the. What would you say? In my perspective, I think attackers are
They've
quite.
got the passion, haven't they?
Yeah.
But then so defenders, so the midfielders. Everyone's got
True.
different sort of passions on the pitch. But
as you're saying, it can harm you if you don't have a good mentality.
Yeah, it's totally necessary. And these kind of situations make you grow up. And that one, especially in Israel, make me find all the reasons I needed to become not become my career as a coach, because I started before than that, but to make it like 100% totally serious. So that, especially that experience in Israel.
What's Israel actually like?
Which one?
What's Israel like?
The country, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, it's very good. Very similar to Western standards.
Yeah.
And many people don't know that, because if you are following the TV news about that, you think there is always a war zone, and it's not like that. And that was my my perspective. I was there 3 times. My family is living in Jerusalem, it's the heart of everything there. It's just a very nice place, It's just a combination between culture, modernity, and very unique society who are, trying to dribbling problems, skipping problems all the time, growing up with that such strong and power. I really love the mentality of that place. I really love.
Unfortunately, you did have to retire due to physical issues, but what sort of issues were they? Were they ones like the reoccurring issues, or was it different each time?
In my case, physical was the main one. But not only that, because talking about this, I understand this is pretty normal. You start your career young and you start to have physical problems. And it's not easy because you need to understand you cannot be able for playing the team and the pressure is very high. But you need to understand maybe be not in the main role is totally normal in football and accept the consequences of that. And for me, it was very difficult to understand. I was always a leader in the teams I play for, and maybe I wasn't ready to face the reality. And that's the main problem. Not about being injured or not. Okay, you are injured, you have to work very hard to get back as soon as possible in the best way. But if the mentality, the thing we told before, is not helping, so how can you recover yourself? How can you find reasons to continue on this? And the mental issues is something, especially at that time. I think now in sports psychology, we improve a lot. But 15, 20 years ago, it wasn't like that.
Yeah. When you did retire, you did sort of go straight into coaching. Yeah. Now, as we were talking about when we were coming up here, Harry and I have always been pretty interested in if there's ever an opportunity to coach or just even have a better insight on the pitch. Why would you want to go into coaching? Did you really just want to stick into the game as best as you could?
There was a casualty, That was a phone call when I was 14. That was the starting of everything. They asked me if I wanted to be the coach of under 10 team, so being 14.
That's crazy.
Half of the season, because the last one he left for about all reasons, because we are talking about hometown club, obviously part-time jobs, very low paid, But I thought, okay, maybe it's not a bad idea. Why not? Go and have extra salary for spend the weekend. That was the reason.
You got paid at 14? You got paid to be
but I think at that time was like 100 euros a month, something like that.
This is better than zero.
No, of course, I know many coaches are like volunteers, I know. But that was one of the main reasons, to be honest. So I have money for my weekend time. Let's try this new experience to me.
And what did your parents say?
Okay, why not? Let's go.
It's a good
Let's
mindset.
do it.
Yeah.
Smash yourself.
Great attitude, great mindset to have. Because I very much live by the thing of you have to go out there and make every day count. Take every opportunity that you can
only
get.
only
live once.
Yeah,
that's what I stand by. But did you gain respect from the children you were coaching? Because obviously you're only 4 years older than them. So did they sort of try and muck about, or did you go in there and say this is how I want us to be?
It was difficult. It was hard because I was a kid coaching another kids, and I remember my beginnings like I wanted to show a lot of authority because I thought in that time that's the best way to control everything as well. But now in the recent years, I thought, what stupid I was, this is not the way. But normally when you are 14, you need to experiment a lot of things, And it was shocking for me, talking with another kids, feeling the power in such way. But without that experience, maybe I am not the coach I am today. I mean, I feel proud of living all these experiences. I was trying to figure out why I made all that mistakes, but mistake is for me part of the life. So it wasn't easy, but very, very, very proud of that experience as my beginnings.
Could you talk to us then about some of the mistakes that you also made alongside going in and being quite authoritarian? So did you try and overcomplicate the tactics and?
No. All of a sudden, I think maybe not about tactics as well. It's in the way to coach. In the way of teach them, that authority, direct orders, you have to do this because there is not another way. Try to be always the one who is in charge, this kind of ego. We can consider this like an ego aspects. That's a big mistake. And many coaches, when I back to my hometown, I see small clubs, I feel, but I can understand in some way, if you are a teenager, you are not ready for the life. And when you have this kind of opportunity, you need time to understand how you can become a leader. Because it's not the same coach than be a leader. But to be a leader, you need a lot of tools, and one of these is experience.
That and also communication.
Yeah,
that's very, very important to have because obviously many coaches find it hard to communicate with their players, which can lead to issues on and off the pitch. So I suppose for you wanted to go in there and make it crystal clear that you were always there for your players if they needed to come to you.
Yeah, of course. That's the question, and that's unfortunately that's a big problem in grassroots, especially. I think we must to try to lead and teach, and scores will arrive. But in this life, scores is everything. Results is everything. How we can find the balance in that, because that two things are in the same way, are shaking hands. So it's really hard. It's really hard. Maybe that's why a lot of coaches who has a big dreamings in the beginnings in grassroots, they never arrive to be professionals. So because you need to face a lot of situations like this, you need to understand you are not the center of the world, and you are very important of the education of that kids you are teaching for. Independent the score are getting your team. So only the selected ones can pass that front like barrier between the amateur to the professional football. Is very difficult, of course.
Yeah.
I'm feeling pretty inspired.
Yeah.
Me too. It must be the Spanish vibe. But I wanted to ask, this is jumping ahead to where you are now. And obviously we will go back and speak about the past. But as a Spanish guy, and even as an English guy, I mean, you know English. You know some Spanish. I don't know any other language. So to go into a place in Eastern Europe, or to go to China, or to go to Asia, to go anywhere in the world, how do you adapt? Because it must be a lot harder if you don't know the language.
It depends what do you want to sacrifice for. I think in my case, I made that decision very long time ago. Football is everything to me, and I understood this is for me part of the process. Languages. We're talking about English. I started to speak English just 8 years ago. When finally I figured out this is the only way if I want to have chances to be pro. So you need to face your fears and go with everything. It's not a plan B if you want to live in from football, if you want to jump in this very difficult world. So languages is just another of the challenges in the daily life our future coach. So yeah, very proud of that, but that's right, it's really hard.
I mean, you saw my Spanish at the start, it's pretty bad.
I'd have to say that your English is fantastic.
Oh, unbelievable.
For only 8 years, it really is really, really good. But we said before, didn't we, about how you thought that English is, well, and it is, English is it's the most important language in the world.
Yeah.
To learn, to go elsewhere to speak. Because you said, obviously, in China, there are people that started to speak it then.
Yeah, China was totally wild experience. Yeah, English was also the bridge in my world there. In China is a very great society. It's the present and the future, I think, and they're spending a lot of resources to grow up in English language in all the population because they understand English is the number one. So if you want to grow as a country, you need to you need to give resources to your community, to your people to learn the main language in the world. So in China wasn't a big problem. Obviously, the English level in China is still very relative. We cannot compare with another Western countries in Europe. But in my case, I was living there for more than 7 years and no problem at all. Even I was starting to speak English there. So thank you to my experience in China. So that's why we are here today. Yeah.
You had several experiences working in grassroots in Barcelona, and you mentioned that before, but I wanted to ask about, I mean, the grassroots here is, I mean, you'd probably see when you're returning home, it's just a field. There's no like stadium, there's no, I mean, you'd be lucky to get a clubhouse, right?
Sounds and everything.
Yeah, exactly. So in Barcelona, is it a lot more, because I know in Italy, for example, Serie D or Serie C, they have a big stadiums. In Barcelona for grassroots, what's that like?
But there is a lot. There is a lot. In every hometown, in every town even, there is more than one. But the most part are small ones.
Yeah,
So
I like the small ones.
Like here, I saw even in the public, in some public parts, there is football pitch. I saw with the football lines coming to here, working, not here, it was in the center of London. But
Yeah.
in my way to here, and that's amazing. In Barcelona, maybe not like that, but there is a lot of small pitches because this is the base of everything.
Yeah, and the smaller pitches, you get more technical.
Maybe yes, maybe not, but
Okay.
that means there is a lot of kids interested to play. And
Yeah.
a lot of people involved in that. So.
And obviously, it's unbelievable how many players don't go pro.
Oh, yeah.
Because the demand is obviously unbelievable, isn't it?
The most part of the population, the most part of the people. Football is the number one sport in the world, and that means a lot of sacrifice. In numbers, we can say, I don't know about players, but in coaches, 0.1% of coaches will be professional. So this is almost impossible.
Unbelievable.
So if you are expecting when you start your career and dreaming in big, okay, you can, but you need to know the reality. Much more probably you didn't arrive. So what's the message we can say here? But place is the same. So patience is the most important. We cannot lose that. You like to play? Okay, let's play. You are good? Okay, why not? I will give you resources, tools, try to make you a professional one, but you need to understand maybe that's not your way. You need to have a big plan in the life. And grassroots coaches need to help in that transition. So that's why I still think this is very important part of the process of the child in the education, not just coach the kids and that's it. They need to understand these future players, maybe yes, but maybe not. This is very relative, and we cannot control what will happen in the future, right?
So could you speak to us about the coaching badges? Because, again, to be a manager, you need the badges, and you got the pro license very early on in your career.
Yeah, that was very early. I have still the record to be the youngest one in Spain's history. So that was a process. I mean, after Israel situation, I was deep thinking about what I want to be in the future in football. In that moment, I decided my time as a player became to be over because I didn't find enough reasons to continue. And the thing I knew in that time that, okay, Noel, you like to coach, but what do you need to do if you really want to have chances to be your way to life the rest of your life? So, but I say, okay, I need to start to study. This is one part of the process, get the license. In that time in Spain, I was able to do it once a year, 1 year, one license. I made like starting with the C level, B, A, and Pro, and that time was possible. A little hard because we were young. You are with mates, can be enemies in the future, we can say, but much more older than you. They don't help too much in that way. They say, okay, that kid was doing that in the pro license course. You need to face all of this, but my passion was much more bigger than all of these egos, and that was the way. 1 year after another one, having my football coaching as a part-time in that period, the way to can sustain and pay all that studies because it isn't cheap. In that period, not that difficult to pay, but now it's much more. So and that was the way. Coaching, even being referee in grassroots, is another of my passions. Yeah, be a referee. And that was the way. 1 year to another one, studying hard, have a lot of sacrifices to get in that point to have the pro license. That was a very great moment, But in that moment, I didn't understood this is just the beginning. When you have a license that even if you are not pro, you are A or B, it doesn't matter in that moment. You need to start the most difficult part of the process is grow up in the football system, and nobody shows you, even in the school, in the coach license school. So that started my another life.
This is just inspiring me even more to try and get my own badges. Honestly, I'd love to in the future one day.
Yeah.
Is it something that you would seriously consider?
Yeah, I mean, the pro license is really tough to get now, I think, because you need to be at a top flight club or something similar. But yeah, the A license, the B license, the C license, and the FA ones, 100%. 100%. But it is about the reward. So if you're going to pay £700 for one course and get nothing out of it,
well, yeah,
I think we'd rather keep the £700.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But how hard did you find it to work up to it?
To start in my professional career, you mean? Yeah, not easy. I remember I finished it in 2013, and I thought I will be the master here. We start my career in the best way, and I know it wasn't like that. Even in my next year, 2014, I didn't coach in we can say federation in Spain. Coach only in school. So that was my shocking reality. And until 2016, that became my first big opportunity. We can say big in that way. For an offer in internet, in LinkedIn. I was starting in that time, I remember. And I found an offer in LinkedIn to be technical director, not a coach, in Africa, in Ivory Coast. And I said, okay, let's try, why not? So I'm pro coach. I will try to send him a message. I was a little brave and a little... sometimes I think about that. It wasn't the best starting. But I told him, if you want to find the one, I am the one. Something like that, he said, okay, why not? Show me a project. I prepared a project in 3 or 4 days, very, very fast, a quick project. He liked it, and in less than 1 month, I fly there to Abidjan, the capital of Ivory Coast. That was everything suddenly happens.
And what's it like in Ivory? I've never, ever been. And what's it like over there?
Not the most tourist place in the world, but it was a very shock of reality.
Really?
Very, very, very happy to have that opportunity because that opened my mind in many, many ways I never imagined before. And the less important is football. I mean, when you have the privilege, and I say the privilege to living in this kind of part of the world, you understand much more about how culture is for totally opposite that Western standards. So that experience was amazing. If I can write another book, just talking about this. Yeah. So Africa was completely amazing. I recommend all of your followers. You go there, spend maybe more than 1 week, maybe 1 month or more at least to start to understand local customs, and maybe your vision of the world can change in many ways.
And obviously, when you went to Ivory Coast, you helped to build a structured development program for young players. And obviously, so you've had a big implemented impact on these young players who now might have gone on to achieve great things. So how do you feel that you've been there and you've, given the foundations of your own philosophy?
Yeah, that was amazing because the people open their arms to you completely. This is something we are not. This is not normal here. So the white guy, wow, coming from Spain, Yeah, I have very good welcoming in that way. At the beginning, of course, and the kids were totally excited to work with me, and also the local coaches, everybody. But after a while, you understand their style of life is totally much more calm down, relaxed, and sometimes not that professional than you expect, and that can cause you a lot of problems. So you need that resilience and try to adapt to local traditions as fast as you can, because they will not adapt themselves to you. So that's an important point. And that process spent some time. But at the end was great. A little frustrating sometimes, but okay, this is normal.
I mean, Africa as a whole is I suppose it's a continent, right? It's a mix of so many different walks of life. And I've always said that if you take all the top people from around the world, but we can say Africa here, let's just say Ivory Coast. Let's say all the people in Ivory Coast that have never made it pro, but are so good. Imagine all those players that are just now a normal person. They're no longer the next Wilfred Zaha or the next big thing that's coming through in the country. So for you, your aim was to really try and find those players and to boost them up into Europe. Was that the aim?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. You find that level that you can help to exploit it, because that's why they need. They have that base, that abilities, because they are playing on the streets also. Like in our age, time before, they have that hungry, that motivation, that passion. Just they need the tools, they need the resources, they need the knowledge. So I remember I worked very intense for try to bring them the most part of my knowledge, because I was the director, not just a coach. I prepared their own methodology, following Europe standards, coached the local coaches. We implement a game model. So it's a kind of modern game model, not just train them and that's it. So very specific way to training. And even we compete in, MIC is Mediterranean Cup, very important youth. It's like a World Cup in youth football. It's in Costa Brava, Lloret de Mar. And I was surprised because we got eliminated by Barcelona in the quarterfinal. It was a big surprise because we were the only academy, not professional, arriving to quarterfinals. So we feel very proud of ourselves, because in the best of our dreams, we didn't expect to play in Barcelona in quarterfinals of that competition. It's, I repeat, one of the best in the world in youth. There are national teams playing, some of the best teams in the world, a lot of English clubs, Premier League, City, Arsenal, Manchester United, I remember Newcastle. So that was like that ending point of that year, because it was only 1 year experience there, and that ending was better than expected. Yeah.
Obviously, it would have been a shame when you were eliminated from the tournament, but I imagine you were so proud of how far the team had come, because to only go out narrowly by Barcelona under 13s, that's quite an achievement in itself to reach that point.
Yeah, completely.
What players were in that academy at the time?
Who?
What players were at the academy at the time?
Oh, I don't understand.
So it was that, Messi wasn't playing at that time, right?
And you mean 2016?
Well, the under 13s. Any of the players in that team are now big players?
Yeah, I think in Barcelona, you mean? At that time?
Yeah, the team that you would have managed against.
You mean the tournament? Okay.
Yeah.
The players who are playing now.
Yeah.
I understand the question. Sorry. Ibrahima Balde won. Xavi Simons. And we stopped them like Bordalas style. That was amazing. We lost 2-0, but we were the team who conceded less goals in all the tournament. And we conceded goals in the first 5 minutes of the game. The nervous, that boys never have that opportunity in their lives. Yeah. And after that, they start to play much more concentrated, tactically brilliant. And we started to recover a lot of balls to put Barcelona under 13 in problems. We have a lot of counterattacks, a lot of one-against-one situations. The goalkeeper saves perfectly. I remember one detail very curious. So Barcelona players were taller than us, becoming an African team, That's people is always talking about the age of African players. I can say that's true. Normally, African players are older than says in the passport, but maybe not in our case. But that was like this. So Barcelona players were taller than us. So what's happening here? This is not the normal thing. That game was amazing. One of the best ones in my career over 20 years. I remember even losing the game.
Yeah.
I feel completely proud to Pat in a lot of troubles. Barcelona coach, even I remember at the end of the game, he didn't want to shake hands to me.
Oh.
They expect to win us for a lot of goals, even being quarterfinals. They didn't know about us. We were totally amateur, not professional academy. That was one of my best moments I will never forget.
But there we go. It's another one of those unbelievable players that no one hears about. You mentioned a really good point there, though, about the opportunity that the players have been given to play against a team like Barcelona. But what was it like for you, though, personally? Because for you, it's a big occasion as well.
Yeah, this is the occasion all the coaches are waiting for. You're playing against probably best academy in the world in your former city. So a lot of coaches want to live in this kind of situation. Some are living currently. You know, you are playing in the highest division in youth in Spain, in Catalonia, because in Spain it's divided by regions.
Yeah.
The division system in youth. Yes, you can twice a year maybe. But I didn't form part in that. When I was working in Barcelona, I was working in lower level. So for me, it was like the opportunity I was waiting for. So my expectation with my staff is saying, okay, if we lose for less than 5, that will be a miracle. So, but after 10, 15 minutes, I understood. So maybe that's our opportunity. And I was enjoying a lot in that game.
And why do African players, because this is a thing, why is their passport sometimes not right to how old they actually are?
Normally, they are taking advantage of the poor political system.
Okay.
The lack of infrastructure and how easy is falsificate or change the birth age. They take advantage because that's a very great advantage if you want to have opportunities to play in Europe. If you're older player than you are, if you are maybe 20 and officially you are 13, it's much more easy to. Yeah, that's the reason.
Wow.
The reason. And a lot of players who are now in elite player, the most part have 4 or 5 years more. Yes.
So they could be players now, couldn't they?
But wasn't there a couple years ago? He was in FIFA, and he was a couple years, I don't know, younger or older than would have been older than what he said. Could you talk to us then about moving over to China now? This was, well, it would have been 2016 was the big boom of money into China, and I suppose you came around that time. What did you see? I mean, it must have been like money everywhere.
That's right. That was like a paradise for coaches like me who want to grow up and have that full-time coaching in football. Because it's very hard if you are not in the professional system, even you have pro license or that stuff. But in China, government have that decision to bring opportunities to much more foreign coaches because they wanted to grow up in football as fast as possible. They understood football is the number one business in sport, and they have the resources to try it. In my case, I got the offer in 2017. So to coach in a small academy, there is a lot in China. The most part of the amateur academies because there is not a youth professional system, saying that way. There is academies, it's like in Africa, and no control, no structure, no plan. So I was contacted by one. They offered me good salary, of course. It was very good opportunity to keep my career there. That's right. I remember my first 2 years there. It wasn't very, very, very competitive. That's why I was working in Peking University, best university in China. So that wasn't that bad. But even at the university level, there is not a league system. There is some tournaments, like private ones between universities, but there's a lot of work to do in China. So even coaching in good universities is not enough. So my first times there, my first years was like this. More formation, more grassroots, back to my beginnings, but with the good conditions in economic terms and living terms. So that experience was great for many reasons.
So on your first impression, how different was it from China to Spain to Ivory Coast? Was there a big difference or did you there was?
Yes, it was, but maybe to me not that much because from the past, if you have the privilege to living in this kind of place in Africa, how the life is, when you go places like China, it's much more modern everything. So it's much more easier, the transition, yeah? China is amazing. And I remember when I started there in 2017, it was much more modern than Europe in many things. Maybe now Europe start to grow up, but still now there is a lot of difference. I don't know if you've been in China, but if not, please go.
Really?
That's amazing. And the people here don't know how good it is. So I really love with China. Since my first moment there. So China was very important, is very important part of me. So I recommend everybody who can live in that experience, maybe just to go holiday and see how modern is everything, how respectful is the people, you will enjoy a very unique and genuine experience there.
And what's the food like there?
The food is very good. Nothing to do with the Chinese food around the world.
Oh,
You know,
yes,
this is like when
yeah.
you're finding Spanish food, you think about paella,
Yeah.
know, about octopus, other things. But it's very hard to find a good quality local one in China. That you have 300 possibilities of food because China is a huge country. There is a lot of provinces. In every province, the food is totally different. And really, if you want to find a really local experience, there is only a few places. Maybe in London there is. But I know in Barcelona there is one or two really similar than real Chinese food style. It's not like, I don't know, the typical dumplings, fried dumplings, and you know, and food is much more real. A lot of fresh things. They don't like to fry too much.
Okay.
Yeah, it's much more different.
Healthy.
Healthy, very
It's much
healthy.
more healthy. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, but it's definitely worth a trip.
Yeah.
I'll be up for it.
Of course, of course. I mean, I think China does get a bad reputation because, I mean, we'll speak about the coronavirus because you were there around the time. And people,
before, yeah.
well, yeah, and people were saying, "Oh, it came from someone eating a bat," or you know, and people often critique China in the way that they possibly eat animals that we wouldn't hear in the West. But what was there that, like, perhaps we would be quite surprised? So, like, do they actually eat dog in China?
No.
They don't.
The official information is not. In China, not. Maybe, I think now in these days, it's small villages. They're in the east side in China. They can eat, I think, one piece of dog. But they told me, my former boss, one of my best friends now, many years of a good relationship, he told me sometimes, no worry, Noel, that kind of tradition are over in China for almost 100 years
Yeah.
ago. So, but the people here have this kind of idea. I think in South Korea, and I think North Korea too, they are eating dogs until now in these days. It's very, very near to China. But in
Yeah.
China, in main China, in Taiwan, I was there too,
Yeah.
there is not. No dog.
Would you go back to China? Would you go back to China?
Yeah, of course.
If you could, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. The last time I was in China was this year. No, this year, sorry. Just until December. In December I was there, so I have personal questions there. Yeah, I have a lot of things still in China. So, yeah, in the last year, since I finished the war there, I was there 3 times
Oh, wow.
in less than 2 years. So you can have idea how important is China to me.
And COVID obviously
Yeah.
supposedly originated from China.
I think yes. But even if you ask to locals, they don't know very clear what happened in that time. So
Yeah.
the situation was critical around the world, of course in China too, and I was living there from inside.
You were in China at the time.
Not at the beginning.
Okay.
I was that stupid. I came later. When I really started and the country was locked, I got an offer from for China Federation to lead Mongolia project in the Chinese part.
Yeah.
Because China has a part of Mongolia. There is another province of China.
Okay.
They offered me to come there. I remember what was very difficult even to go there because I was in the middle in the COVID. At the end of 21, I remember in Spain that period there was 1 flight a month. Only
To
go there,
China?
and you need a lot of special permission. Almost no one get there, but I work by the federation. And the federation,
They
China
say,
has
come
the key.
over.
I remember that was an amazing one. When I landed in Huhot, the capital of Inner Mongolia, there was like a special ambulance in the airport. I mean, when just land the plane,
Yeah.
there was an ambulance with all the lights on because I was the only foreigner who were going to that place. They took me apart like a criminal, because I was foreigner. In the middle of the paranoia, I was living in China in that moment, just to support me and pick me to my hotel, because in that time, if you have the luck to enter China, you need to pass 1 month in like a lockdown, quarantine, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
1 month. That was amazing. So like in the movies, like in the
Yeah.
world-ending movies, something like that.
It's mad to think we actually went through a pandemic.
Yeah.
And we survived the pandemic.
Feels like ages ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah.
But it's something that we'll tell our kids, and their kids will tell our kids that we actually went through that, because it's something that until that happened, you hadn't really heard of that before, had
No.
you? And it was
A
something that came out of
lockdown. Who knew
nowhere.
what a lockdown was? you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the precautions were things that we look now and we think that's crazy, like the face masks and the distancing, and supermarkets you have to queue to go in, and
That distance thing
It's
is just
unbelievable, isn't
unreal, isn't it? I mean, I still see signs around these buildings, and I think it's been 5 or 6 years. Because we don't want to go back into those old times.
well, exactly, yeah.
I mean, I was thinking that the closest thing that we could compare a lockdown to is hiding in a world war in the bomb shelters. I mean,
Most likely.
right? Because you're quarantining from different things, but you were in Bulgaria for a bit of time, right?
Not in Bulgaria. I worked by Bulgaria company.
Yeah, and
Making kind of scouting there. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, that's another. You mentioned when you were young, you did refereeing, and I suppose as a coach now, you need to still build on other things. And someone actually asked me yesterday. I was saying, "Oh, I'm interviewing someone who's flying from another country called Noel," and I mentioned that you were an analyst, and he said to me, "What is an analyst?"
It's another way to feel football. I mean, you go to games, you collect stats by games, and you send it to the database. That was my work there. A little far away if we compare with coaching, and there was not a lot of time. I was working there like 6 months, just before to go to Mongolia. That was the experience. It was good in the way to have more extra savings, or win more extra money, and that was the reason. That wasn't my best job, but I understand football in another way. In the way where you are not the main one. There's just someone who go there, like Hayden, collect some stats, send it to the database about what happened in the game, players, some rating, and that's it. That was that experience. Not in the highest football in Spain. I was in the 3rd league, 4th league, in the semi-pro stages in Spain. Yeah.
And how did you get that job? Was it a phone call? Was it an email?
Or
did you apply for it?
Normally with the phone, there's an app. You are collecting data. I remember also sometimes talking with the phone. The most important was make it on live. The most part of the work, and that was like this. So simple, basic instructions, and don't commit mistakes, because this is very important. You need to collect information in life and don't commit mistakes. If you commit mistakes, there is some kind of punishment. There was some kind of prayer system in this, so I understood quickly this is not for me. But for my survival in that time, because in that time I was in Spain because I cannot start in China in the beginning of the coronavirus, so that's when I decided to back to my hometown to help my former club. It was very nice experience with the young boys, returning to my beginnings, and I combined it with that experience with that Bulgaria company. Yeah. I think now it's not existing anymore. They only work by 2 years. So.
Well, I mean, you've had the experience to work in some of these incredible places. We've still got so much to talk about. But you mentioned that. I mean, I never really heard about a part of Mongolia is owned by China, I suppose you could put it like that. So for you to go there, was it different to China in the way that they wanted to play football, or was it very similar?
That's a good question. So yeah, of course, very similar. So there is a good part of population. They are becoming from Mongolian racing traditions, and there is a little difficult because China is a great nation, but they need to follow Chinese standards. So in that part of Mongolia, situation, we can say in politics, but it's not in politics. It's a little hard, and you will find, but it's very beautiful in another way because you feel the mix. Not his Chinese culture is amazing, but also that Mongolian, even the language is different. Words and the typing is more similar to the Russian one. So you feel that mix inside China. That's amazing. About football passion, I don't know why, but they don't like football so much. I'm much more basketball believer, but that happened in a lot of places in China too. Football is not the number one. Now it starts to be equal. But that wasn't that high the passion. And I remember in my 2 years almost there, I was in charge of all of the province, for to say it that way, to find talent. There's 50 million of population, but not easy to find talent. So it was a very hard work. Also because I started to work with, still the virus was on, a lot of restriction. Maybe I remember to come work for some weeks and then we have to stop for 2 months. So the first year was terrible, and the final score in that experience wasn't the best one because of the circumstances of the daily life at that time.
Whilst you were there, obviously you work with the Chinese FA and authorities. So were there ever any struggles working alongside them, or was it fairly simple and free flowing?
No, simple is not. Simple is not. But the good thing I want to say about that, even the federation, they respect you so much as a foreign expert. So in that way, they give us maybe some extra facilities that normally locals have not, because you can feel that difference between the treatment. In that way, for us, the life was much more better. But you need to follow some standards, and it's not negotiable at all.
Yeah.
So they want to work in that way, and they want that kind of scores, and that's it. I mean, there is not plan B in that way. I try to make as best as I can, but there was a lot of problems, especially for that moment everybody were living for.
You spent some time in Nigeria, I believe, and again, it's another African country that captures my eye. I'm probably going to guess with you as well, in terms of the football talent, terms of, I mean, you're probably going to tell us that place taught you a lot as well. As I know that you were in the Ivory Coast, but I suppose going to Africa again, it must have taught you more coming back so many years later.
Yeah, it's like a deja vu or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I'm back into the same place. It's very similar. Even they speak English like a main language. It's not like Ivory Coast. It's in the Atlantic zone, but Nigeria is not that far away, but they have that English standards. Yeah, it was very nice experience because it's very familiar to me. In football terms, the same. a lot of future stars over there. Just they need organization. I was scouting for an important business in Spain, an important company. They contacted me to try to find the best talent that was in Abuja, I think. Yes.
Yeah.
And we worked just 1 month, very, very intense together. So we scouting a lot, hundreds of players. And the best ones, they passed to the next round. At that time was in Cairo at the ending of that 2023. And some of them, they got finally professional contracts. Some Spanish clubs, La Liga, like Villarreal, Valladolid, I think, Celta de Vigo. So I think at least we bring opportunities to some players to live in the dream. So that was a very good experience.
And they're big clubs as well. Villarreal was a big club in Spain.
Celta Vigo goes under the rug a lot,
It's a
doesn't
big
it?
club, and obviously that's in Galicia, isn't
In
it?
Galicia, yeah.
Celta Vigo, you get the best octopus
Favorite ever in Spain.
Okay. I like squid. Is that octopus?
Calamari.
No.
It's also a very good dish in Spain. Yeah,
Yeah.
why not?
Here we have somewhere called Wagamama. It's Japanese, right? Japanese cuisine.
think so.
Yeah, and it's squid, and but it's like got like a batter around it. It's so nice.
Calamari.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Calamares.
Sorry, very sorry about my. I love food so much, and I don't even know what half of it's called. Can us now focus on Taiwan? You were head coach over there, and that's a region again that's quite, I don't know, at times quite politically unstable. But obviously, we're going to focus on football here. That you had a young team, and you're very new to the head coaching role at this time, right? So for you to go there to be top manager again, what was that like for you?
Now, that was my first experience in professional football team, in professional system league. So almost after 20 years, I didn't think too much. I knew working in China a lot of time can be maybe a little problem. Situation political is not easy. But for me, my passion gets more than that issues. I get the risk. Not a risk because I was short and intense experience, but not wrong or bad at all. They offered me to be head coach in second team. We're playing in second division there. Obviously, Taiwan is not like, even in Asia, they're not in the top.
Yeah.
But to me, to someone like me, who started since grassroots, that was, after all that years traveling and living this world, I didn't think too much and I get that experience. That was very great. That's a little rare and unique because at that time the competition was only 4 months. So 6 teams, 2 rounds, that's it. Playing 4 months, so good luck. With a lot of youth players, the most part didn't win money. Some yes, like part-time, but not bad level, quite decent, but they don't have that mentality probably of living of football or that stuff. And a lot of problems in daily life because the football is not like high. We can say officially it's professional, but it's not. In infrastructure, in many decisions. I remember my time there was great, but not the best with president. So that's why I decided to leave. Even offered me the possibility to continue second year because I get the avoid the relegation. We get the score at the end, but for me, follow my instincts is more important than even that scores. I didn't have the best feeling. Even in the country, my adaptation wasn't that good. Yeah. So, and I decided to leave. Very, very happy and grateful with them to give me that opportunity. But that was it. 4 months. Okay, the goal was achieved, and let's go to the next one.
Yeah.
When you say there were adaptations, in what sort of way? So was it maybe the food, the weather, or did you feel just homesick?
That's a good question. So, because the Western people who has idea or who went to Taiwan, they speak very good about that country. Okay. I think it's like the democracy country in Asia because they have this kind of mixture. But for me, it wasn't like that. It's a place. Yes, that's right. There's a lot of foreigners, and officially it's like more similar to the Western standards. But the cost of the life is high, and the things you are getting in exchange is not that good, especially comparing with China. So China is amazing. It's number one in lifestyle. So in Taiwan, cost of living is high, and you need to pay. You need to pay rent. You need to pay things, and the final number in that way is not that good. And also about your social life because football is not everything. You need to disconnect. You need to enjoy of everything different than football, daily pressure life. So at the end, to me, it was very clear to understand Taiwan is not my place. I respect that community so much. But even was quickly, I remember in my second month, I understood I will not be there so much time. I was the most professional as I can. Finish my contract because the contract was only 4 months. The beginning, all the season. So depend of the score, they offer me to continue or not. They offered me finally, but the relationship wasn't very good at all. So I understood the best for everybody is leave. But Taiwan as a country, we can consider is more Western standards. But I compare with China because this is like a Chinese community. They become from Chinese people who moved to Thailand Island. You know, the war in Chinese war over almost 100 years ago. They were the losers of that world, and they moved to Taiwan. But they're still speaking Mandarin, and they're following a lot of Chinese things, but they're rejecting to recognize their Chinese ones. Okay, I understand because I'm Catalan too. I know what means that, you know, in this way. I respect that, but for me personally, it wasn't the place.
You said that disconnecting isn't, I think, was not everything, which I mean, we need to get it smacked into our heads sometimes that this is correct. So how do you disconnect from the world of football when you're a manager, when you've got players, or probably when you finish the podcast, 5 players would message you saying, "Boss, where are you?" And you've got to explain you're in London doing a podcast. But how do you disconnect, and how do your players disconnect?
There is more life after football, so I try to get involved with the best people possible, friends, family, and this is more important. I have another passion, for example, writing. I wrote that book some years ago, and I like science. I have that ambition to improve and learning every day. So, and I understand football is just one part of the process, but I have much more passion on me. You know, even small things like, make some tourists walk in the streets. Okay, you have one day in London, like today, no problem. You want to have a good walking tour around London and then take the subway, come here. Small things like that, and try to disconnect. Because if you are thinking, because it's very easy, if you are in my position, think about football all the time. Because when you are in such level, professional pressure, you know, it's a full time. You need to, it's not easy to manage. Maybe my studies in psychology maybe help me a little, but especially my experience around the world. I visited many places. I'm still very able to get more in that way, you know. So because football maybe is until when? Nothing is forever.
Yeah.
I know this very clear. So football is just one part of the life. Life is longer. So that's what can I say in that way.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a shame that nothing lasts forever, is it? Because I'm sure we'd all love football to last forever. But on the topic of football, one thing that we have spoken about before, but I have to ask it in front of the audience as well, is Jose Bordalas. So just talk to me. Obviously, I'm a massive fan of Bordalas. I know you are as well, which is great to hear. So just why do you love him so much in his style of play?
I love Bordalas because he understands football like no one. And I like the people who is going against what all the population is following for. But not about this especially, but I love football in the way, for me, it's a very geometric sport, a very mathematical sport. And spaces is everything, and how to understand, exploit, and create, act in the spaces on the pitch is everything, and that's an art. This is an art that is very small amount of coaches, even in the top football, understand this in that brilliant point who is him understanding. So he started also not in grassroots, but lower categories in Spain. Nobody gave him nothing. He was not the typical ex-player. So I respect that so much. He was showing his knowledge himself for a lot of years until right to the elite, and he showed with a small budget he can get a lot of performance that many other coaches with much more resources they cannot, because football without the ball is everything, for the most part. So I love it. Some years ago I understood that when I began my career, and I thought, okay, that's the way I want to follow. I want to create my brand in this kind of style, and I don't care what the people think about that. So yeah, I want to win, and I know how to do it.
Many people do hate it, don't they? It's very, very. It causes a lot of debates and everything like that. But
of course, I think Pep Guardiola has debates that sometimes his football's a bit slow and City are too good, they spend too much money. I think people are always going to have a negative opinion. But what I think we should all admire about Bordalas is he does not really care, as you said, what other people think. And that shows that he is the manager, he's the boss, and the players have to understand that.
Yeah, is it? I mean, doesn't matter the level. Obviously, if you are in La Liga, you need to follow some standards. But he is the kind of coach is more leader than a coach, and I love that. Because they need to follow in you. That happens many times in the elite, especially. You know, there is a high ego coaches, and they cannot connect with the players. If you want to exploit all the abilities, you need to lead. And for to lead is much more than just tactical. You need to be brilliant in tactical, but also in the decision making, also in psychology. They need to understand. They need to have the same hunger you have. And when you are coaching elite, with that big budgets and that salaries is not easy. The ego of the players are very big, and he found that that way, especially that almost no one else do it. So I really love it, and I want to follow that steps. Let's see until which will be my limit as a coach. But I try to follow this kind of leadership he has.
And that obviously takes us on to your time now in Latvia. So obviously you're still there now. So have you implemented those sort of styles in any way, shape, or form to your team now?
Yeah, time before. even in my time in Spain, I started to create my own system following that standards in Latvia, yes. Coaching now there, second team, we will compete in the third professional league in third division. So that young players, it's not easy because they are coming from work with local coaches. I respect them, of course, but they have limitations. And this is not easy. When you are implementing a new game model with a lot of extra information, they need to understand and they need to believe first for to then try to convert it in performance. That's a process. We are in this process. The season starts in January because the league starts next month. In Latvia, it's different, that winter system. And I will try to follow this kind of different football because I made last season when I came to Latvia, first time, I scanned this kind of football, need much improvement in tactical way, especially without the ball. So I try to make the difference in that way.
So you said that the league is a winter league?
Yeah.
So when is your next games?
Now we are in friendly period. That's right, the first division already started last weekend, but the rest of the competition start in April until November.
Okay, so that's the same as, is that the MLS as well? MLS has winter league, I'm pretty sure.
Might do,
and I think a lot of Eastern European teams have that as well.
So like Russia, Belarus, this kind of league. Also in Asia, Chinese league, and the most part of Asian, they're also following that system.
How would you say your time's been over there so far? How good's your time been?
There?
Yeah.
A little complicated because I'm struggling with the weather a lot.
Really?
Latvia, of course, this is very terrible cold place, for Spanish people like me. Can you imagine how terrible it was snowing until 2 weeks ago. Now it started to be more human. But the experience is great because it's totally opposite than China. I came from China. There is a big population, 1,500 million people, and you went to Latvia, who is only 1.5 million. I'm living in Jelga, but this is second city. We can consider it that way. Maybe it's not more than 50,000 people,
In a city?
Yeah, it's like a town.
Yeah, there is a town.
And it's very quiet. You can walk around. You see people making sport. Very green. In summer, Latvia is a very interesting place. Baltic country as well. It changed a lot. Very green, trees. This is amazing for enjoy summer sports or stay with family.
A lot of people there speak English.
Yes, that surprised me a lot.
Yeah.
Because when they offered me the position there, okay, maybe I need a translator. Another experience I had was necessary, but no. All the players understand me. Even some speak better than me. So
no, I mean,
it's
been quite hard though.
It's amazing.
It's unbelievable.
It is. It
yeah.
really, really is.
Unbelievable. Can we speak about though the culture? Can we carry on about that because the food there is very different to the Western food in Europe, right? And for me, I mean, I know we speak about food a lot here, but for me, firstly, the weather's a big problem, I'd say, but also the food. If you're having food that you don't feel is right for you and you don't particularly like, then it might be harder to adapt.
We're talking about Latvia.
Yeah.
It's not the best one, we can say in that way.
Okay.
So there love soups, cold in summer and hot, obviously, in winter. This is something I'm not very fan. Yeah. Also, they love potatoes. I think here in UK, they
they do.
Potatoes, they have good meat. I respect that. They have some German influence too. I don't know from when. But no, food is something I didn't enjoy so much there. So
good.
I try to escape to Riga when I can to have some good meal, more international. That's it. Yeah. And when I can, I go to Spain. For example, next week I have 3 days break, so I will eat all the jamon and paella I can. I'm totally full to continue spending the life there.
Good.
Very jealous of that thought. I'd love to be in Spain right now.
Yeah.
I'd love to be in Spain right now. But a big achievement for you is HJK Helsinki are a big club from Finland, and you beat them 3-0. So that was quite an achievement. So congratulations for that.
Thank you so much. The tournament was amazing. There was like a ending of season tournament, a quick one, a 3 days tournament. So with my under 15 team, because last season I started in that role, and that was amazing. We didn't expect to win the tournament because there was some big clubs saying that way, especially Helsinki one was the best and the favorite. Everything was great. That was the last thing that our implementation of the new game model was achieved, and we prepared the game in some hours. they made it as best they can, and we won with a lot of difference. So for me, it was like best way to finish the season with that guys. So very grateful to have that experience with that teenagers. Some of them are with me now in the second team. So because we need to bet in the future. So and they will be the future former players of the national team probably. That's
Really?
our intention. I think so. Yeah.
And they speak English?
Yeah. Better than me. So.
So, can I want to talk about Latvia a bit more, but the book that you mentioned earlier is really interesting. What was the purpose of the book?
The purpose is enjoy one of my passions, is writing. So
Yeah.
that was a consequence of many things. I remember a girlfriend I have many years ago. She started to speak me about this because she know when I start to spend experiences around the world and make my life a little different.
Yeah.
I started to accumulate experiences, and she told me, "Why not? You like this? You like to show your emotions? Why not?" And I said, "Okay, next, after we will find place." But suddenly the virus started, and when I was in China in the middle of the lockdown, it's like I had a flash and said, "Okay, that's enough." Nothing to do 24/7. Okay, I don't know what will happen tomorrow, so I will write my legacy before everything is over. But now I need to make a second version because there was much more experiences in that 3 years when I made the book. That was very nice. Very happy to have that experience. My intention wasn't to sell it. I mean, just to show my family and my people. But finally, I had the possibility to have a contract with a book company in Spain. They liked the idea, and okay, they sponsored me, but only in Spanish.
Oh.
It's only in Spanish, so yeah.
I don't read many books, but that's definitely one I'd definitely be up for reading. I'd love to read it if I could, but you said it's only in Spanish. I'd probably have to practice my Spanish a little bit more before I can read it.
I will give you one copy, no worry.
Oh, too kind.
Really? Of course, I have in my home.
Oh,
I will
thank you
send
very
to
much.
you, of course.
Thank you.
Because it's much more better to feel it, to touch it. So there is an ebook in Amazon in the principal platform, but I think the original book as the thing that people enjoy when you are reading for. So
Yeah.
Definitely,
I wanted to make it only not digital. I mean, just the normal one,
Of course.
paper.
Yeah.
Finally, that was released in both formats. So
You have to sign it. We can put it up here.
okay, no problem.
Yeah.
No, you're invited to come, even to Latvia. So why not? I mean, I'm there working. We can have like a documentary or something like that. Podcast, yeah.
I'd love that.
That'd be great.
All you need, you just tell me and we can organize. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you
Because
very much.
well, we've got a big summer ahead, haven't we? I mean, we're heading away to Greece, and but I'm so desperate. He's probably very bored of it now, but I'm very desperate to head to Eastern Europe, whether it be Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, North Macedonia. I mean, Romania. Have you been to Romania?
Yeah.
Romania is so nice.
It's a very different part of the world. If we compare the North Eastern Europe countries with the South,
Yeah.
The culture and styles are totally opposite. you
Yeah.
know? Yeah. I've been there 2 years ago with my mom, Bulgaria and
Okay.
and Romania. It was amazing. Much more similar than Spanish standards.
Yes.
Europe, open mind.
What did you do in Romania?
There was holidays. There was holidays I think it was in 23, no 22. It was amazing.
And you went to Bucharest.
Huh?
You went to
Yeah,
Bucharest.
of course.
And you went to the spa.
Yes.
So nice.
Yeah, in the countryside. I think so. Yeah, there was a big one, very famous.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name. And
Thermae.
also in the Ceausescu big palace, one of the biggest in the world. It's huge.
I didn't go
palace
there.
In the center of Bucharest. You need to back.
Yeah.
I think it's the second one in the world, biggest palace in the world.
Yeah.
Until now, amazing. It's a very nice country. I really love it.
And I know my one opinion can't do much, but I try and speak to people that I know, and they think Romania or Eastern Europe as a whole is a very different place. And yes, it is. But Romania, like Bucharest, is very, very Spanish-looking. It's very European.
It's, I think, almost the perfect combination.
Yeah. And it's hot there as well in the summer.
Yeah.
So nice.
Amazing.
Yeah. Could you lastly speak to us then, round us off with your ambition as a coach? Because you're a very young guy. You're not even 40 years old. 37?
Almost next month.
Okay, happy birthday. We'll have to send you a cake. You send us the book and we'll send you a cake. But yes, could you speak to us then about your ambitions as a coach? I'm supposing that Latvia wouldn't be the end goal.
Not, but it's the next one. I have my big focus in Bundesliga in the first division because I'm very close. And I'm in the second team. That's a big dream because I never been coach in first division around the world yet. This is very difficult. Even talking about Latvia, it's a Europe system. So it's really hard, and the coaches are good and are professional, and for me, it will be a very good achievement in my career. So that's my next step. If it's possible, I think I'm ready for it. If they give me a chance, perfect. If not, I will look in somewhere else. So my ambitions are very high, I'm very similar than my beginning. So because we can say the most important is the way you are recovering, but the hungry I have and the motivation I have for to be coaching in the top someday, becoming from grassroots in Spain, is the same. And I understand I start to be close. Even being young coach, and it's some little problem to convince some presidents about that. But with my experience and my knowledge, I think right now, I have strong chances to be there. So I will try my best.
Well, I'm sure wherever you go, you'll absolutely smash it, and we have the full support behind you, and we do wish you all the very best of luck. So best of luck wherever you go after
Thank
this.
you very much.
No worries.
Thank you very much.
Well, the last question I wanted to ask was, what do you prefer? Do you prefer working with the men, or do you prefer working with the under 15s, under 13s?
All. For me, that experience I had in Spain just before the virus, before the Mongolia, that showed me that was one of the best ones. I know I love boys, work with boys, with kids, because everything is more pure. Passion, the basics feelings there are much more transparent. Everything is much more real. I still love that. So it's difficult to have that question. I cannot tell you very clear which one I prefer, but I love both. It's totally different. So about human side, about everything involved, like deep feelings with kids.
Well, what an honour it's been.
Unbelievable.
I've learned so much, but actually the main thing I wanted to say was I've just taken so much inspiration.
Yeah.
Like, you really have inspired.
Do you want to go to Latvia now?
Very well. I want to go to Latvia, Ivory Coast,
Summer is coming,
China,
yeah.
Go on a big tour, the three of us around everywhere.
Are you not going to ask your all-important question that you ask?
I was going to come on to that.
Okay.
Yes, so I ask this to every guest we have. So looking back to, you when you were 5 or 6 years old, very young, with the whole world ahead of you, would you be proud of where you've come now?
Yeah, completely, because this is very deep history. My father introduced me in this life I'm living from. He passed away when I was 12, so it was a very hard moment to me.
Oh, yeah.
So I get up in the morning very proud every day to think about him, and he maybe is proud of me.
Of course.
Of course he would be.
Where he is right now, because I'm following that dream he showed me at the beginning. I create my own history with that base, and nobody can break that feeling. Love is more important, even sometimes than facts, So very proud of this, and thank you.
Well, no, it's been a pleasure. It's been an absolute pleasure. We always end it here with a handshake. So thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Pleasure. And Jamie,
of course.
Thank you.
Legend. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.